Welcome to excuse me. Welcome to Corona Fits. The title of today's talk is Corona. It's toasted. Now, the challenge now is, the question is, how can he connect Corona to toast? So my talks are kind of like puzzles or Zen cones or whatever, which I present two totally different ideas, and I put them together to create a leap to a greater understanding. So, last night I started watching Mad Men again. I think I watched it twice, but maybe just once. Anyway, I'm watching it again after some years, and I love that series. And it's interesting when you watch a series like that again, you notice things. Since you know the whole picture, you notice the whole in the parts. In other words, what people are saying, the characters are saying at the beginning, are revelation or revelatory to their character unfolding through the whole series. But of course, when you watch it for the first time, you are discovering that as it unfolds. But then after you see a series, you see the whole, and then you watch it again, you see the whole in the parts. It's very interesting that way. You see the whole in the parts after you get a grasp of the whole. But before you get a grasp of the whole, you can't see the whole in the parts. You're just seeing the parts. And by the end of the time you get to the end of the series, you see the whole, right? You get that? Okay. So last night, the first series of Mad Men was about the dilemma that the cigarette companies, namely Lucky Strikes, were in because the government had declared through science that smoking was bad for your health, that it'll kill you. So the dilemma of the tobacco companies was, well, how do we advertise? We have to advertise. How do we advertise when the advertising is either not permitted, because up until during the 50s, cigarette companies advertised by saying doctors said it was good for you. Get doctors smoking. My doctor says Camels are good. My doctor says this and that. These filters are, the filters and all that stuff. In other words, they reached a point where they could no longer say it was good for you. So how can you advertise something if you can't say it's good for you? So this was the dilemma then that Don Draper had, who was the guru or the genius of this advertising company, because he could always pull something out of the hat. But he had nothing. He had nothing. He was in a dilemma. He was in a state of, he was in a no man's land. He had to go to this meeting and he had nothing. He had to go to the meeting with Lucky Strikes, their primary advertising client, with nothing. And he was supposed to have something, but he had nothing. He was empty. So the meeting failed. And the tobacco people, frustrated, said, we're done with this, we're leaving. And as he walked out the door, Draper said, well, wait a minute. He said, what is the process that you all go through when you make your cigarettes? Oh, well, they do this and that, and then we toast it. And he said, you toast it? He said, yes, all tobacco companies toast the tobacco. So he writes up there on the board, Lucky Strikes, it's toasted. And everybody paused. Then they thought about it. And the CEO of the Lucky Strikes, I like it. I get it. I like it. And he walks out with a smile. And Don Draper saved the day. And he just pulled it out of, he said, I just pulled it out of the air. Well, where he pulled it from was from the facts, from the experience, from just the facts. You see, because he recognized that all of the tobacco companies were in the same dilemma. So Lucky Strikes was in the best possible place. Now, what does toasted mean? Well, the dysfunction, or the double bind, of the tobacco companies. Now, mind you now, these movies are metaphorical in the sense that they are about a particular situation in time, but they're always about you too. Your time, your double bind. How do you get out of your double bind? How do you discover it's toasted in your life? So let's look into this a little deeper then. So we went to the facts. And the fact was that all of the process, all the do, it's toasted, you see. So he bypassed, so the dysfunction was that if you have to advertise, but you can't advertise that you're good. In other words, it's a double bind, and if you advertise, you're wrong. If you don't advertise, you're wrong. That's the double bind. A double bind is a situation where your choices are all lose-lose. No matter what you do, you're wrong or you lose, you see. Wow. And this creates a wow. A no man's land between choices. You can't choose this or that, you see. This is the conditions for creativity. All creative artists go through this no man's land. They go through the emptiness, the not knowing. But you see, they don't leave. They don't walk out of the room. They just sit in it, empty. I don't know. So Don Draper was empty. He admitted, I don't know. He couldn't come up with anything. I don't know. And just as the tobacco company were leaving, had their hand on the doorknob, he said, wait a minute. And he wrote on the board, it's toasted. Now, if you remember back, Lucky Strikes that's been their famous logo. It's toasted. Well, what does it mean? In fact, it means nothing. I mean, all the cigarettes toast their things, so factually it doesn't mean anything. But metaphorically what it does, it bypasses the dilemma because the smokers were in a dilemma too. I gotta smoke. I love my smoking, but it's going to kill me. What should I do? If I don't smoke, I got to give up my habit. If I smoke, I'm going to die. What should I do? Wow. So the ad relieves the smoker of his anxiety. Forget about it. It's toasted. Oh, it's toasted. It's okay. Everybody loves toast. Toasted is good. It's good for it. We like to toast things. Morning, breakfast, toast. Have some toast. Toast your marshmallows. Toast your wieners, It's good. It's toasted. So that's a fact. It's toasted. But it's a metaphor. In the sense that it's a factual thing. Yes, they're telling the truth. It's toasted. But also, it allows you to forget about the double bind. You bypass the dysfunction. It's toasted. I can smoke. I just bypass the dysfunction and make a leap, a metaphorical leap, you see, into an idea that allows me to be free from the double bind. So it's very interesting, you see. When you start looking at particularly when you look at these, the other day, yesterday maybe it was, I looked at Doc Martin. So when you look at these series, these episodes, these movies that enthrall us, that we watch again and again, over and over. I don't know how many times I watched The Big Bang, and always laughing as if I saw it for the first time. So what is it when you see something for the first time that you've seen before over and over, you see? Well, you're seeing into the depth of it. You're seeing the metaphor, the release of your own double binds in the laughter of the metaphor or the art or the show, you see. So these shows that are psychologically true and spiritually deep, you see, release us through laughter, through the irony of our own double binds. Because we're all caught in double bind. Corona is a double bind. Corona's caught the nation in a double bind. One commandment is, well, you got to get out and produce and open the stores and have an economic GOP and grow and get together and work, you see. That's a commandment. And the other commandment is, well, if you go out and work and get together and go to work, you're going to die. Whoa. That's the double bind. I got to work. I can't work. We got to get together. We got to stay apart. We got to go and do our jobs. I can't go to do my jobs. Wow, 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 wow. That's a double bind. What do? It's toasted. So anyway, so I'm struggling right now. So, but the point is, when there's a double bind, the only way out is to bypass it. It doesn't mean you go to work, and it doesn't mean you stay home, because both are killing the other. You see, that's the double bind. Trump is going to say, we're going to open it up May 1st. We're all going to go back to work. The hell with the other commandment. So you die. Or the other one says, no, everybody's got to stay home. How long? I don't know. Maybe a year. Stay home. Go to work. Wow, wow, wow. Same double bind the cigarettes are in, you see. Cigarette smoker. I want to smoke, but it's going to kill me. Wow, wow, wow. I want to go out and work, but it's going to kill me. Two commandments that must be obeyed, yet they're contradictory. Catch-22. They cancel each other out. That's the mic in the amplifier. Wow, 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 wow. The mind starts going back and forth. I should do this. No, I got to do that. But I got to do this, but I got to do that. We all get caught in these double binds in our everyday life. Most of the times we can choose our way out because one choice is better than the other. Oh, this has more cons, and we make a list of which is better. Well, this one is better because it's got more positive, less negative. I'll choose that. But what if they're both the same? What if they're both the same? That's the catch-22. The yes is no, the no is yes. The double bind. Irony. And that's Zen. Zen induces the double bind so you make a leap to it's toasted. You're okay, it's toasted. That doesn't mean, we're speaking metaphorically here, it doesn't mean, of course in the Mad Men, it was about trying to sell cigarettes, but it's also about how do you bypass a dysfunction in your mind, in your life, when you can't choose. Hurt Locker was about this. Remember that movie? Hurt Locker. Avatar was about this. Jake Sully was caught in a double bind between the Sky People and the Navi. They kept canceling each other out. He didn't know which was real. Wow, 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 wow. So what did he do? He did a mad act. He said it was a mad act. I jumped on the last shadow. Right. So in a way, it's toasted was kind of a mad act, you see. Again, we're not talking literally now about smoking, nor corona. We're talking about how you get out of a double bind. So the it's toasted is a spontaneous act, you see. Don Draper, when he was caught in the double bind, he can't come up with the ad and he's supposed to. Everybody's looking at him, you're the genius, come up with something. And he didn't, he had nothing, He sat there in it. He didn't try to fake his way out. You see, he just sat in it. I don't know. And then, in the not knowing, an idea plucked. It's toasted. It works. It's toasted because it's ironic. It's ironic, you see. It's toasted. So anyway, this is the end of today's Corona Fit, and I'll continue to watch Mad Men, and I'll bring some more toasted insights as I discover them. Thanks for dropping in.